Traditional sweet recipes from Malta, available online at www.traditionalmaltesesweets.com. Traditional sweet recipes, creating a small slice of Malta that feels like home.
Merħba fil-programm Maltese DownUnder, jiena Marlene Scicluna insellmilkom u nirringrazzjakom li qed terġgħu tingħaqdu magħna għal dan il-programm bi produzzjoni mill-Belt ta' Melbourne. Fil-programm illum nitkellmu mal-artista tal-Cabaret Danielle Asciak. Niltaqgħu wkoll mat-tabib Stephen Parnis u ma' Ted u Michelle Caruana, sidien u diretturi tal-kumpanija Exclusive Homes. L-ewwel intervista tagħna llum ser tlaqqana ma' Danielle Asciak, artista żagħżugħa li fil-jiem li ġejjin ser tiftaħ produzzjoni tal-Cabaret bħala parti mill-Melbourne Fringe Festival. Of all professions and of all artistic careers, why Cabaret?
Because it's the freedom of expression. I can do whatever I want on stage, and it's such an intimate performance where the audience is only so far, and you can participate with them, engage with them, and just have a lot more fun than you would, say, music theatre. Music theatre is very kind of distant from your audience, and I think the music theatre sometimes can be very superficial, doesn't leave such a long-lasting impression. Cabaret, on the other hand, it's very provocative. It's very kind of thought-enticing. There's another level that you can take your performance to.
Now, there's a few elements of Cabaret in Cabaret. So tell us about your shows and what elements come in your show.
There always seems to be an element of food in my shows.
Oh, right. Typical
Yes.
Maltese.
I love food, I really do, and especially in the current show that I'm working on, which is Everyone Wants a Piece of Malta, there's a section about food and pastizzi. In my last show, there was grapes. It was an Eartha Kitt cabaret, and there was this element of, I sang Uskadara, a Turkish song, which referred to slaves, or well, female women who were quite powerful, and they had these male slaves, and it sounds really weird out of context, but it was this idea that the female would feed the male candy, and so in that show I would kind of ride a guy on his hands and knees where there'll be like a camel and feed them grapes, but there's always been an element of food because that's just it's a universal thing. Everyone can engage with that element. There's other elements of identity and what it is to be a woman. They're things that are really important to me because that's my politic, really. So that's what I'm going to talk about, those experiences. So there's storytelling, there's always a bit of dance, there's song and audience interaction. So my shows kind of, they're based on something, an experience that I've had, and once I reflect on it, I would find repertoire that I think, oh, well, this would really form a show. This would be something quite unique and something that an audience would definitely want to engage with. The Malta one, that was just came from being at university, and I wanted to write a cabaret. And a friend of mine said, well, why don't you start with you? What makes you you? This idea of being Maltese. And I really thought about it. I thought, wow, I know so many of my friends that don't know where Malta is. I didn't even have an idea of where it was, and I just came back from Malta. So I thought, let's write a show. And I took out my travel diary and went on this adventure of Malta, but also when I was there, the experiences I had about accepting who I am and this idea of what it means to be exotic.
Having written a show about Malta, does that mean that you relate to your Maltese culture and background more than your Serbian background?
No, I think it's very insightful having gone to Malta. I think the Maltese, it's a very interesting culture. I think the Serbian culture is pretty straightforward. I mean, they've had a lot of heartache in their history. But the Maltese one is really interesting. Interesting for many reasons, that it was an entrepot in the Mediterranean and everyone's had a piece of it. Hence why I called the show Everyone Wants a Piece of Malta. I kind of see it as a bit of a mongrel race, still trying to work out where it sits, and that it's it thinks it's the center of the world, and you don't believe it at first, but when you're there in Malta, you do really feel like you are in the center of the world, because you could be on a beach in New South Wales, but you know that Australia goes for miles up. But when I was in Gozo, I looked out and it was just water. It was the Mediterranean. And you just kind of look around and you realise that it's so small. And you do feel at that point in time that you are in the centre of the world.
Well, you spent quite a bit of time there, especially as the artist in residence for Fondazione Creativa. Tell us more about that experience and how it came about.
At the time, the Fondazione was the St James Cavalier Centre of Creativity. And they were looking for a pilot, an artist to represent the pilot artist in residence program. So I applied thinking, I've got this show that it was the first show I ever did. I never thought that it would have another life. And here there was this application process, which was asking for a show that was underutilised, an underutilised art form that represented Malta, the culture, the landscape and identity. And I thought, I'm in a fresh shot. This is it. It's 60 minutes of all of it. And I was really there was a few things that I wanted to hone in a bit more about the Maltese culture. So I applied, and then I received my offer to be the inaugural artist in residence, to trial out the program, the first one. And then I got to perform the show in Carnival, and I really thought, I really don't know how the Maltese are going to accept my show, because it's not your conservative show, and to then be performing it in a pub in Ala, in the main square, in front of the locals across from the church, and here I am calling Malta the whore of the Mediterranean, and then taking my clothes off. It's all demure. I'm in a corset, but there was lots of the Maltese there went, yes, my hey, like, like they've never seen this ever happen. They don't know what cabaret is. So it was for them. I was taking them on my journey. It was just, I felt like I was with my people.
Now, the reviews have been awesome. You had tremendous reviews. Obviously debuted in Malta.
Yes.
And the show also encompasses Eurovision. Now, you know how Maltese are passionate about Eurovision. So tell us more about this Eurovision bit that you've got in the show, and how it was, the reactions that you got.
Yeah, so I take a couple of the well-known Eurovision numbers, and then I decided to write my own Eurovision number, Vertigo. And I pair that one up with Pastizzi. So this idea that, because I currently live in Sydney, that everyone exercises more than they eat. So people found it amusing that I was pairing up Vertigo and talking about Pastizzi at the same time. And for the Maltese,
you got to show us what you did. So come on, tell us. Just a snippet.
It was that idea that I talked about Pastizzi, and then I would move into a bluesy number of, you're spinning me round and you're holding me down. Loving you gives me vertigo. So I transferred this idea of a male or a partner giving me vertigo with Pastizzi. There's like this flaky, cheesy, greasy thing that at the end of the day, it's move over, man. Just give me Pastizzi. Everyone Wants a Piece of Malta is coming to Hawthorn Arts Centre during Melbourne Fringe. And it is programmed in the inaugural basement program with 5 other shows. And my show opens on the 27th of September and runs to the 2nd of October at 8 p.m. And tickets can be purchased through Hawthorn Arts Centre and Melbourne Fringe Festival.